Good evening, folks. I had made a video for a few days, I should say. But a friend of mine asked me to make a video concerning relationships, and one of the things that they asked me about the video was, how do I find the right person to date? And think and I believe there are two things that you need to do as a finding the right mate for you, whether it be he, she, or whatever, or if it's the same sex or whatever. The goal is to always two things. Number one, never lower your standards, and number two is always to set boundaries. For instance, a few weeks back, a friend of mine said she started dating somebody, and then they had dated previously, but they wanted my opinion, and they said, I really like this guy, but he's a heavy drinker and I don't drink. And my comment to her was, well, if you don't drink and that bothers you that he's a heavy drinker, then why are you dating the person? And then she said, well, he meets 8 of my 10 requirements. Well, my thing is, there's somebody out there that's going to meet 10 of your requirements. I think what happens, or I believe what happens, people settle for less. In other words, they lower their standards because they find the guy very attractive, or finds her or him or the same person, whatever it is, they find them attractive, but they're willing to compromise on their standards. I think that, and I believe that's a mistake number one. The next step is people don't keep their boundaries. For instance, I had an individual that also emailed me a couple weeks back and said, well, I like this person, but I don't like that they smoke. I don't really get into smoking. And then my comment is, well, if you don't like somebody that smokes, then why are you dating them? And they said, well, the guy really likes me. And I said, well, just because the guy really likes you does not necessarily mean that you should lower your standards and you set your boundaries on it as well. I think what happens is people fall into this attraction mode. And when this occurs, all their boundaries and all their standards go out the window. And then when you get after the honeymoon phase in the relationship, then what happens? People start settling into what I call their comfort zone. And then they realize, oh, I made a mistake. And then when you do that, it's tougher to get out of a relationship than, say, when you have those standards. I think the issue here, too, is we've had all this, with the pandemic, all this social distancing, and lost some of our social skills. So people are a tendency to have sex with somebody very quickly and then realize, oh, I made a mistake. So my emphasis, and I told another person this, is just kind of straddle back a little bit and just take your time. There's no rush for anything, because in essence, if this person is the right one for you, they will accept who you are, accept your boundaries, and willing to make those changes. If a person tends to not respect your boundaries, to me, that's a red flag in itself, because that means that person is only out for their own self-interest and not somebody else's interest. And number two, like I've told this person, that you need to sometimes take things slow, especially with the social distancing going on, and not so much rush into something and then regret which moves you might make down the line. I mean, for instance, I know we're all older, but the point here is that you need to always keep a mindset, being positive and being open, but also, like I said, is not lowering your standards. and also setting your boundaries. And I think this would help people more in relationships. The third issue I always say is positive communication. But I think that occurs if over time, because the fact is you don't lower your standards and you set the boundaries. And if you set the boundaries and you have high standards, you'll attract the type of person. Like I said, we're into this thing with instant gratification, and people want things to happen quick, and it doesn't happen that way. For me, I got accepted to do a conference, but sometimes these things take time. So it just can't happen overnight, though sometimes I think I would like things to happen at a quick pace. It necessarily doesn't happen that way. So my suggestion to many of you folks here is, first, don't lower your standards, set your boundaries, and once you get that, you'll open that line of positive communication in the active listening skills, and then you'll find the right person for you. These are just some food for thoughts. And anyway, I wish you folks a nice, happy weekend. Stay safe, stay warm, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.